if someone clicks on a lead generation ad, assuming you're a realtor, and let's say they're not actually ready to list their house or buy a house for another 3 or 4 months, it's like, well, what are you doing in between now and then to keep yourself top of mind with that buyer or seller, so that they don't work with some other realtor, so that they don't forget about you, right? And what we've stumbled upon, I guess, that just works is ads that don't look like ads.
Yep.
So ads that don't look like ads, creative ways to keep you top of mind, but it flies under people's bullshit radar and they don't realize they're watching an ad.
Hey everyone, my name is Ethan DeLeon, and I'm here with our founder and CEO, Jason Duff. Today we are excited to have the founder and CEO of Platform Marketing, Tim Chermak, is that right?
Yep, that's right.
All right.
Nice
so he's with us all the way from Naples, Florida, and we want to welcome all the listeners to the Small Talk podcast, where we share some of the valuable lessons with what we have learned about entrepreneurship, real estate, economic development, and more. And the point of this podcast is to create value for you, the listener, and to create a space to learn, talk about what's trending, and inspire others. So, Jason, why don't you give some context to who our guest is today?
I am so excited to have Tim on the podcast today. He has been a friend and a mentor and someone that is doing some incredible work in around the country and probably potentially even around the world. I'm not sure if you've got those international clients yet, but if they're not here yet, they will be coming. Tim, we first met through a Facebook post.
Yeah, yep.
And, you know, I think today you're going to hear there's the power of connection and meeting people and how that's always evolving and changing. But Facebook for Small Nation and for me personally has been a great tool to ask questions, to get feedback, to communicate the great work that's happening and meeting other people that are like me from around the country. Because I think the big thing that one of my mentors said is sometimes like starting a business and being a leader can be a very lonely world, especially when you're breaking barriers and doing things that are kind of uncharted and haven't been done before. So when we were kind of tagged by a mutual friend, I think in a Facebook post saying, hey, you guys like cover a similar audience and have similar passions and beliefs, I think you should connect.
Yeah, it was a simple Facebook post, and now I can't even remember who it was who connected us, but I had just posted something on my personal Facebook page about how I'm passionate about local small businesses, and I think that the health of a community really is the health of its local small businesses, right? Like no one goes to a town on vacation or thinks of their hometown that maybe they're from and thinks fondly of the big chain, national franchise type of places, whether it's restaurants or other retail, right? Not that there's anything wrong with that, because I know that a lot of those, places that are maybe literally franchises are still technically locally owned and everything.
Right.
But
right.
it's those local businesses that give a community its sense of like vibrancy, and no one wants to live, especially if you're in a small town, right? No one wants to live in a small town that just has a bunch of chain national places, because you can get that anywhere, right? It's kind of like you're getting the worst of both worlds if you live in a small town that doesn't have that, because there's not all the, benefits of having a ton of people and the network effects that come with that. But if you also just have a bunch of, chain restaurants, like that's not a super cool place to live. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because less people move there because of that. And no one ever says that out loud. Right. But if you live in a small town, because I'm from one of those small towns, Wilmer, Minnesota.
First off, tell us about Wilmer.
Yeah, it's a small town in the middle of Minnesota. It's central Minnesota, so central both north, south, and east, west. It's about 2 hours west of Minneapolis. It's the county seat. The entire county has, 35,000 people, something like that. Basically a farm community, there's not any like insanely major employers. Like I know out here near Bellefontaine, you have some auto manufacturing and whatnot. There's nothing really like that in Candioi County. It's basically agriculture and really light manufacturing. There's lots of like poultry. That's probably the main industry. But other than that, there's no big like manufacturing center around, So it's a lot of chain restaurants. Like I grew up, I remember people were super stoked when we got a Taco Bell when I was in like junior high or high school, whatever that was.
Your town got a Taco Bell?
Yeah, I mean, people were like super excited about that. But growing up, it's like, okay, there's McDonald's, Hardee's, Arby's, Pizza Hut, Burger King, Domino's. It's like
all the staples.
Exactly. Like I live in one of those towns where if you're from a town like mine, you're totally nodding your head right now when I say that, like in high school, if you had a girlfriend, it's like if you wanted to impress them, you would drive them an hour away and take them to Olive Garden. Where that was like, that was
unlimited
cool.
breadsticks.
Yeah.
That's how you could seal the deal.
Yeah, or sometimes if they were into, the finer things in life, you might take them to Red Lobster for some classy seafood, right? But we didn't have any of that in my town, to be clear. So I'm not saying there was an Olive Garden or Red Lobster in my town. We were way too small for that. But that was the vibe we had, where like where you would go on a Friday night after the high school football game was like Applebee's for half-off appetizers after 9, right? There wasn't really, and for the most part still isn't really, any like treasured, interesting local restaurants. I guess there's like Frida's Cafe is one I think of. It's like a little hole in the wall pancake place that people love to go get breakfast because it's one of those places where you can still get like a full breakfast for like $5. And
love those places.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I go there every time I'm back home, and I always see people there that I know. So that's one of the only restaurants though that my community has. And so when I stumbled across what, Jason, you and the team at Small Nation were doing, this was last summer, I think. I started looking at your website and I looked at all these businesses, and I was just like mesmerized because I go on Google and immediately I'm searching like Bellefontaine, back when I thought it was pronounced Bellefontaine, right? And
Bell Fountain.
yeah. And I'm looking and I'm like, wow, this is like smaller than Wilmer. So this is even like, this would be harder to maybe engineer a comeback than because my hometown has about 20,000 people, Wilmer, something like that.
Yep. We're about 14,000 here in Bell Fountain.
Yeah.
Smaller.
Yeah. And so I'm looking at this like, wow, this could happen in my hometown. And then I looked at all these businesses and I'm reading your case studies. And I think we scheduled a Zoom call because I just wanted to learn more at a surface level of what you're up to. And
can I tell you on that call, I think you were pretty skeptical. Were you not?
Yeah. I was very skeptical because the first question I wanted to ask was, to what degree are you leveraging, government grants and subsidies and whatnot? And how is this all working? Are the businesses profitable? I mean, what's really going on here? Because I was almost like, there's no way that you could transform a small town by putting in these, businesses. Like what's actually happening? Is there a community foundation behind the scenes that's just bankrolling all this, from like the dividends from an endowment or something? Or like what's actually happening here?
It was our money from Beanie Babies. We sold the
Beanie
Baby
right.
collection.
So I was really curious to figure this out because I have seen not anyone doing similar things, but whenever you hear of like downtown revitalization projects or things like that, like as soon as you start reading the fine print, almost always you find out that like government is involved or some foundation is involved, and it's being funneled through a nonprofit or a government grant or program, which is like cool. But I'm a huge free market guy, and I have both emotional and philosophical problems with that. But maybe the first and foremost practical problem is if you're viewing the nonprofit sector or the government sector as a way to rejuvenate, revitalize your community, that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Because as soon as the political will runs out for said program,
then it's over.
It's over, right? Yeah. It's not sustainable. So people often don't associate the word profit or business with the word sustainable. Usually it's like the right who uses business, commerce, profit, and the political left likes the word sustainable. But in an economic sense, like profit and business is the ultimate sustainability because you don't need to beg anyone's charity to keep it going. If people like your ice cream at the price you're selling it at, that ice cream parlor is always going to be there if it's making a profit.
Keep coming back. Yeah.
Same thing with a pizza place, same thing with an event center, bowling alley, whatever it is, right? So that was what I was trying to figure out in that first Zoom call is like, how sustainable is this? Like, what's actually going on here?
Coming out with the hard questions.
Yeah, and I think I just straight up...
I liked it.
I think I just straight up asked you on that Zoom, like, hey, how much government grants are you using? Like, what's the business model behind all this? And
are you profitable? And, honestly, I what I appreciate about Tim is just him being direct and real. And the truth about it is he's right, is that there are very few models around the country that are doing it and building independent businesses without the subsidies. And I think that's, again, where we started resonating and saying, okay, tell me more about the clients and communities and people that you're working with. And he said, let me tell you about platform marketing. And so just with that, like what does platform do? What problem does your company solve?
Well, before I get into that, I want to finish this thought here of I loved the fact on that first Zoom call that you told me, well, we just kind of birth and invest in small businesses, and then those small businesses help the buildings we invest in become more viable because they can pay rent and everything. And you were just one of the first ever real estate entrepreneurs, small businessmen I had seen who was like truly passionate about local small towns, but you were doing it in such a way that didn't avoid or ignore the necessity of creating a vibrant business. Because so many people, I think of like growing a business as starting a bonfire, right? If you're starting from scratch, you don't have a lighter, right? And you're just like rubbing sticks together or using, flint, right? Like the hardest part is getting the spark and getting the smallest flame. Once you have that, it's really not hard to walk over with a gas can, if you're smart using diesel, not gas, but it's
gas
really
is expensive now.
Right. It's really not hard though, once you get even like a small flame to pour fuel on a fire. And I feel like that's what most economic development is, whether it's literally government or it's like a nonprofit, some sort of community foundation. It's people walking over to a pile of logs, pouring gas on it. And then they're like, why is nothing happening? They're just pouring gas on logs. It's that spark, that entrepreneurial spark of starting a business that actually makes a profit because you're selling a product or service that people want at a price they're willing to pay. If you get that part right, everything else takes care of itself, but no one wants to do that because that's the hard part, right?
I appreciate you mentioning that. In previous podcast, we've actually had a lot of the entrepreneurs that were there in the early days when things got started.
Yeah.
And your point about it not being easy, it's easy to look today to see the after pictures, the results, the energy, the life that's here in downtown Bellefontaine. But in the beginning, none of that was here. So it does creating that vision. And then once the vision's creative, you've got to find other people that are going to resonate with it. And that group sometimes is very, very small. So I just appreciate you recognizing that.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to do. And a lot of small businesses will still lose money their first year or two. So it's not that I'm saying that.
And even after 5 years,
yeah,
the
sure.
statistics are,
right.
not great.
It's obviously hard to start a small business and make money. So it's not as if it's not sustainable if you're not making money right away. But I see a lot, because this was certainly true in my hometown, all of the energy and all of the planning and all of the committees and everything that people launched to try to revitalize my downtown, it was always under the guise of, government involvement, local politics, the EDC, what can we do to help support businesses? And no one is just standing up and saying out loud, hey, someone just needs to start businesses here that make money and hire people and grow and bring people downtown. Because my hometown is one of those classic, almost at this point, stereotypical examples of a downtown that was thriving in the 40s, 50s, 60s. And then they rerouted it, just like the plot of the movie Cars. They rerouted the main highway around the downtown to bypass it, and then pretty much overnight, the main street died because all of a sudden there's no cars, no foot traffic. And now you have to go out of your way to go there. And so I think this was way before I was born, but the local newspaper used to have all their headquarters and printing down there. There was a JCPenney down there. Tons of retail shopping, and now there's basically nothing. It's just like the buildings are dilapidated. Some of them are half abandoned. The businesses that are down there, to be blunt, don't look like they're profitable. You're just assuming, okay, they've got to be surviving on government grants because there's no way that they're making enough money to even cover rent, And so that's what my downtown, my hometown is today. And so I was just inspired, frankly. That'd probably be the right word, is inspired, seeing what, you and your team have done in Small Nation in Bellefontaine, of starting actual small businesses that draw people here. And then when I found out, oh my God, he's doing this without government grants, without subsidies, he's doing it like the old fashioned way, where you start small businesses that attract people like a magnet. Like this is how small town America is supposed to be. So to answer your question, I started an agency called Platform Marketing, and the executive summary is that we're a digital marketing agency that just happens to specialize in working with realtors. And the reason I've found this really fun and kind of like a rewarding career is, I didn't grow up thinking I wanted to be a digital marketing strategist who specialized in working with realtors. Cause like most second graders, like, you know, people ask you what you want to do. And usually my go-to answer was I was going to play second base for the Minnesota Twins. That didn't work out. I also wanted to be a cowboy and an astronaut. And
dude, those are all really good answers.
Oh, I know. Neither of the above worked out. So
it's not too late. Like, do you watch Yellowstone?
I do. Okay. I do. I'm planning at some point in the future on buying a ranch and getting horses and everything. I've already got boots, but I told myself I'm not going to be a poser.
To cowboy.
I'm not going to buy a cowboy hat until I learn to rope. So
okay,
I can ride decently, at least maybe at like an intermediate level now, but I can't rope yet. So once I learn how to do that, then I'll reward myself and get a cowboy hat. But so I never would have said I want to be a digital marketing strategist.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially doing social media ads, because that's what we mostly focus on is social media ads for realtors. Because when I was in high school, I didn't know what like a realtor was. Social media ads didn't exist. You know, so literally everything about what I'm doing now didn't even exist when I was in high school. But it's really rewarding because the type of strategy that we teach realtors to use in building a brand in their community is really like you become the promoter of your community. So don't talk about yourself. No one cares how many homes you've sold or, you know, how long you've been in the business or what designations behind, you know, you have behind your last name. No one gives a crap if you're a member of the National Association of Realtors and whatever, right? Like no one cares, right?
Yeah.
What they care about is, are you an expert in the community? Do you care about the community? Because if I'm going to list my house or I'm going to work with an agent to buy a house somewhere, I want to know that that person is an expert in the neighborhoods around there, and they're like an expert on the community, not just housing. Because like, if all you're doing is opening doors for people, like anyone can do that, right? But if you position yourself as a local realtor as, I'm not just an expert on houses here, I also understand the community and what's going on, that adds a deeper level of value that other agents then can't compete with. So when an agent hires platform, we do all the expected things that you'd expect a marketing program to do for realtors, where we generate leads, both buyer leads as well as listing leads. We create, you know, funnels to help them capture contact information. We include a CRM for all of our, you know, clients that all the leads are stored in. It sends texts, emails, and we built all that software from scratch.
Yeah.
Cool, but other companies do that too, right? What we do that's actually different is I view my job as a marketer as starting after a lead comes in. So most marketing companies, I think this is just the easy way out. I think this is just the most simple explanation is most marketing companies look at a KPI or a deliverable of a lead, right? And they're like, cool, we got your lead. It's your job to follow up.
Our job here is done.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't blame us if you don't convert because it's your job to convert. Like, we're getting you leads. And I think that's kind of a coward's way out because it's easy to generate leads, like in any industry, frankly. Like, it's easy to generate leads. Like if you have a credit card and you can fog a mirror, you can buy leads from so many companies if you're a realtor, whether it's Zillow, Realtor.com, Ylopo, Curator, Boomtown Sync, Real Geeks, I could keep going, right? There's tons of companies willing to sell you leads. But it's everything that happens after a lead comes in. That's where the missing link is in most people's marketing plans. They get a bunch of clicks or they get a bunch of leads and then silence. Nothing happens. Like you're seeing your database grow and all these names are being added to your CRM and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
So we view our job as starting when a lead comes in. So that's really what makes Platform different from other marketing programs and other marketing strategies really is 90% even of our creative energy of where we write ads and the different campaigns we think of, whether we're writing video scripts for our clients or writing copy for, you know, Instagram posts, Facebook posts, all that. We focus on writing campaigns that'll help cultivate top of mind awareness and trust for people who have already opted into your campaigns. So usually we'll have a client might run, even in a small town like Bellefontaine, you know, you might have 10 different campaigns going. One is lead generation. The other 9 are probably retargeting ads. So when someone clicks on one of your lead generation ads, they're seeing a whole stack of ads that keep popping up afterwards. And they're really about your community. So that's the point I'm getting back to is that these ads aren't about the realtor and how great they are and how many homes they've sold. It's ads highlighting the community. You know, it's a picture of you at your favorite spot to grab pizza in town or your favorite coffee shop, or maybe you go to a bakery and you're like, hey, here's my 3 favorite items at this bakery. And then you say a couple sentences about, each item. So you're kind of proving that you actually do go to this place. You know that the croissants are amazing, or you know that the cinnamon rolls are made with the secret cream cheese.
And that's irrelevant in the community.
Yeah. And that like you love these specific things. So people are like, wow, well now when I go there, I know what to order. Right.
Yeah.
And so like you're really becoming an advocate or a champion of the community who just happens to sell houses. And so we had a mastermind last year, and I challenged all of our agents, because we have about almost 200 agents now across the country that work with us. And I challenged them, think of yourself as the local chamber of commerce or the local economic development, agency, because most of those suck. They're almost worse than neutral. They're terrible.
Yeah.
Well, and many are more concerned about planning the golf outing than they are promoting their members and their community.
Yeah.
And that's just the fact,
Absolutely. Most of them have at best, they have a zero-sum mentality about economic growth and how economic growth actually happens, because they think, oh, we'll offer whatever tax incentives to poach companies to move here. And it's like, if that happens in a free market, like some company just decides to locate, let's say, to Bell Fountain, and they move from Georgia or something, it's like, cool. But like poaching other companies to get them, to move here is not sustainable, because if they moved here because of whatever incentives, they can be poached away from another city in the future just as easily, if that's how easily they came here.
So instead, you're just equipping your local people to be ambassadors of their own community.
Yes, exactly. Like, we want you as a realtor to do the job that, frankly, the economic development people and the local chamber should have been doing all these years, but they're too busy going to luncheons, and talking about economics to actually get anything done. You might have to edit that out, but that's what we want our realtors to do, is like promote your community. And the thing is, in doing so, you become a likable person. Because if
people trust you, and if you're looking to buy a house or whatever, you're probably you're going to
want to work with that person.
Coordinate with somebody you can trust, and someone you
and someone who actually genuinely loves the community.
Yeah,
and the way they just happen to monetize that passion is they sell houses. Right.
So,
that's how I want people to think about our realtors.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you said growing up, you didn't think you would see yourself as a digital marketer or whatever. What came first? Digital marketing, real estate? Like, how did you get this industry knowledge? Like, what was your path to get there?
I was definitely fascinated with sales and marketing and growth. Like, even in high school, my youth pastor, Pastor John Home, was like super into Seth Godin, and he always wanted to grow our youth group. And so I got really involved in youth group in high school, and that was probably the start of my passion for marketing. And I think it's like genetic. Like, looking back, I'm like, okay, I was probably always destined to be an entrepreneur, sales
just
marketer.
Matter of time until you discover
I was that kid who would do chores. I would buy baseball cards with the money I got for chores, and then I would repackage them and sell them to my friends. And so even this is like age 6, age 7, like we'd do a garage sale, and I would get my grandma to bake me chocolate chip cookies so I could sell them at the garage sale. And I was in first grade, so I didn't understand the concept of gross margin or cost of goods or anything. So I didn't have to pay her for the cookies. I was just like, every one I sell, I make a quarter.
Pure profit.
Yeah. And I think I made like $8 or $9 or something one garage sale. And it's just like, this was a small fortune to a, first grader, whatever. And I was hooked on it. So looking back in hindsight, it's like, okay, I was probably like almost genetically destined to be an entrepreneur. But it wasn't until late high school that I saw how excited my youth pastor was about growing the youth group. Because when I came in junior high to our youth group for our church, again, small town in like central Minnesota, there was probably like 50 to 100 people showing up every Wednesday night for like Wednesday night youth. And by the time I graduated, it was closer to 400.
Wow. For a youth group, not the church.
Yeah,
youth
just
group.
just the youth group. Yeah. And so he was really big on like Seth Godin, and he would like share with me like marketing books and whatever. And I just got hooked on that. And so at first when I went to college, I actually thought I was going to be like a pastor or a theologian, something like that, because that just definitely shaped how I was viewing the world at the time. And then somewhere in college, I guess I kind of realized that what I really like is growth and marketing and building things and seeing things grow, right? And so I decided to be a marketing strategist because I didn't want to necessarily pigeonhole myself just to one business. I wanted to be able to work with a variety of businesses. And long story short, a realtor contacted me when I was like college age and had no money to pay me. But she said, I don't have any business. And so if you can help me grow my business, I'll give you a percentage of my business because I have no money to pay you.
Oh man, that's all the incentive you need.
Yeah. So it was like basically
unlimited income.
Yeah. It was basically like an equity deal because she had
Yeah.
no money. And I was like, okay, well, what's your ads budget? So at least I know what I'm working with. And she's
Yeah.
like, I don't know if you understood me. I have no money. So you need to create campaigns somehow with zero ads budget to help me grow my business. So that's what I did. And it blew up. And then I kind of just realized, okay, well, I have basically built a marketing plan for this local realtor who was in my hometown in Minnesota. And I can basically just copy and paste this for realtors across the country.
Because it works.
Yeah, as long as I only work with one agent per market, I don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. So I kind of just stumbled into a marketing business that specializes in working with realtors. And now we have a couple dozen employees. We have, almost 200 agents we're working with across the country now. And it's going really well. They're getting really good results. But it all started with that background in a small town. And I think that shapes a lot of the campaigns that we run too. Like a lot of the copy we write and the videos we do are informed by that background that I have and a lot of our team has about growing up in small towns. I think life is just a little bit different, when you're in a small Midwestern town. So,
one thing that I'm really inspired by just getting to know Tim, and I had the pleasure to go down to attend one of his mastermind events and speak at it and meet many of his clients. And it's a tribe of people that not only resonate with marketing, but they, like Tim said, they set out to be the ambassador, the leader, the influencer for their town. And meeting with them and connecting with them, we were able to share the small nation story in Naples. And what is so great about seeing where we're at today is that we've got 28 of your members are going to be here in Ohio the next few days.
Yep. Something like that.
I mean, living, walking the streets, meeting our business owners, and I'm just excited for them to, rip and duplicate and take some of these ideas back home.
Yeah.
But the impact, the success of the realtor is one thing, but can you speak a little bit to what does it mean to the small business community that these clients and these agents are putting a spotlight on in their town?
Yeah, I mean, we teach a strategy that's basically 2 steps. First is generate leads because you need to build a retargeting list in a database. But the second is you're constantly running retargeting ads that are showing to those people so that if someone clicks on a lead generation ad, assuming you're a realtor and let's say they're not actually ready to list their house or buy a house for another 3 or 4 months, it's like, well, what are you doing in between now and then to keep yourself top of mind with that buyer or seller so that they don't work with some other realtor, so that they don't forget about you, right? And what we've stumbled upon, I guess, that just works is ads that don't look like ads.
Yep.
So ads that don't look like ads, creative ways to keep you top of mind, but it flies under people's bullshit radar and they don't realize they're watching an ad. So if I was in Bellefontaine, right, and I was a realtor here, I would go take a picture. Maybe it doesn't even have to be a video because maybe you're like scared of being on video. Take a quick picture of yourself at 600 downtown, with a slice of pizza, and then write a little essay about why you love the pizza here and why it's so cool that you have such like gourmet pizza in a small town here, and that you're lucky that that people drive from out of town to eat here, and then you have it, in your own backyard. That doesn't look like an ad for you as a realtor because it's not an ad for you as a realtor, right? It's not mentioning the fact that you're in real estate, you have homes for sale. You're just loving on a local small business, talking about how much you love it, but people are seeing you because you're in the photo or you're in the video. And so for that, second, they are thinking of you, but it never occurs to them that they're being advertised to. And so they actually spend more time with that ad, right? Like people read what interests them. Sometimes it's an ad, right?
Yeah.
That's how you have to think about advertising. So if you create a structure and a sequence of those ads where they're seeing you constantly, whether it's you at the, ice cream parlor, you at the coffee shop, you at the bakery, the local pizza place, the furniture store, even a car dealership, like whatever.
Yeah.
And people start seeing, wow, they're really active in the community. They seem really connected. They're going to want to work with you. So it's in the realtor's best interest to do so. But Jason, to answer your question, a really cool side effect of this, and this is just like gets down to why I love capitalism and markets, because it's all about win-win agreements. Like when someone buys something, right, even at the most basic fundamental economic level, if I go to 600 downtown and I get a $30 specialty premium pizza. Economists for hundreds of years thought that one of us was ripping the other one off. Like one of us was getting the better deal. Like, oh, like I bought this pizza and now I have $30. Oh no. Or I have $30 less and now you have my $30. But really, if you think about it philosophically, the reason I buy that specialty $30 pizza is I value the taste of that pizza and the experience it gives me with my friends or family when I'm there more than I value the $30. So from my perspective, I'm winning, or else I wouldn't do the deal, right? I'm willing to make that trade of you take my $30, you cook me a pizza because I feel like I'm winning. I value that experience more than I value the $30. From your perspective as the proprietor of, you know, a pizza place, you value my $30 more than you value, you know, the staff costs and the ingredients and the fixed cost that it takes to sell that pizza for $30. So you are winning too. So the whole
and I hope you'll come back and spend and buy more $30 pizzas.
I mean,
Shameless plug.
the whole basis though at this just most fundamental unit level of how an economy works is that both sides win.
Yeah.
Right? So no one is ever taking advantage of someone else. Both sides win in a transaction. And so when a realtor is promoting a local small business, like they're not doing it out of an act of charity. Like, oh, I feel bad for these local businesses. I'm trying to help them out. The realtor's doing it because their business is going to grow. So we have lots of case studies at Platform where we've added $100,000, $200,000 GCI to our clients. We've doubled, tripled. Some agents after they sign up for a Platform have quadrupled, quintupled their business. We have a couple that have 10 times their business, like literally 10 times their commission income. So it obviously helps the realtor's business, but then you look at what it does for the local small businesses. I shouldn't say uninterested, that's not the right word, but a third party who doesn't have a vested interest in a local small business films an ad promoting, let's say, a pizza place. People trust that way more than if the same pizza place
Promotes their own stuff.
Wrote the same ad with the same video copy, whatever. Because it's like, well, of course the pizza place is going to say that their pizza's great. And of course they're going to say you should come try it. And of course they're going to brag about the secret ingredients or herbs they put in their sauce or where their cheese is imported from or blah, blah. Like, of course they're going to say that, right? So people may be influenced by local advertising just from like top of mind awareness perspective, but they're not usually persuaded by it, if that makes sense. They are persuaded if a third party that doesn't have a vested interest in that business is just bragging about how good it is, because they're like, oh, cool, I should go check that out, because clearly that realtor doesn't have a reason that they'd be promoting this local pizza place.
Which is why you're seeing influencers and stuff like that take off, and it's worth it for a business to pay somebody to be like, hey, you know, you have a following enough that if you come in and say it's good, then other people will believe it. Yeah.
And at the local level, no one thinks that it's like an influencer agreement. Because like obviously if you see, you know, one of the Kardashians or something, or some famous person supporting.
Do you know the Kardashians?
What's that?
Do you know the Kardashians?
No.
Do you?
No.
I was say, you're about to say,
I don't know. Maybe Tim had some special connections.
Yeah,
so.
no.
Okay.
You know, if you see these celebrities and they're out, you know, pimping their perfume or their favorite brand of shoe or their whatever, right? Yeah. It's like, okay, clearly that company probably paid them to say that, and everyone knows that, right? Especially when it's on social media, because no one just tweets or posts on Instagram about, oh, I love this brand of bubblegum. It's like, okay, clearly that was sponsored by right? But at a local level, if you're a local real estate agent and you just film a thoughtful video about, like, let's say you go to the bakery, said, here's my 3 favorite things to order. I love this place so much. Everything is made fresh every morning. It's from scratch. They're not shipping in frozen stuff. You know, like this croissant is made fresh every morning, or these cinnamon rolls are made fresh. It is so good. Here's the 3 things I love ordering here. Guys, you've got to check this out. I'm making this video not because I own this place or because my friend does. I honestly just love it, and I hope they succeed. Like, that's an authentic endorsement, and that will actually help that place's business. So we've had, like, Jason, we've had tons of our clients tell us that, like, my business grew from Platform, so that makes me happy because my family has more money, and now we can take more vacations, or we can buy a new car, we can afford to send our kids to private school or whatever. Like, we're changing our clients' lives because they're growing their business as real estate agents. But they tell us that one of the other cool things that's happening is I'm featuring these local small businesses, and they thank me for driving all the traffic to them because they've never had as busy of a week as they had after I featured them in one of my ads.
That's awesome.
Right. So we have clients that'll do videos or campaigns that'll get 20, 30, 40,000 views. And like that small business may have been in business for 5, 10, 25 years. And they're like, we've never had that much traction.
And then it gives your real estate agent or whoever's working with you a platform.
Yeah. I mean, like most of, well, I shouldn't say most. I've never done a formal poll. I'm guessing when I say most, as in more than 51%. But a lot of our real estate agents with platform literally have a waiting list of like where they're going to film their next small business highlight videos.
That's
because
amazing.
like in their town, they've developed a reputation as like, hey, when Tim goes to this place, it blows up. So like businesses are starting to proactively reach out to them and be like, can you please do us next? Like I saw what you did last week or last month for such and such other business. Is there any way you could do that for ours? And they're like offering to pay them because they assume that the other ones paid them. And then the agent's like, no. Like you don't have to pay me anything.
Yeah.
I'm just doing places that I love and trying to highlight, local businesses.
So let me ask you this, as someone, working, in the social media marketing realm, whatever, how do you take, so that's great that you're promoting this downtown win-win situations left and right. I think that's similar to what we try to do with the downtown Bell Fountain versus, small nation, like trying to make it mutually beneficial for everyone. But my question is, how do you take that from just supporting these small businesses, these posts, and that you're paying social media or to be an ad? How do you turn that into a lead then? Like how do they end up like, oh, I keep seeing this person, but like, how does that make more money for the real estate agent? Does that make sense?
Yeah. The lead happens first. So first we generate a lead of someone who's interested in buying or selling a home. So we'll offer various like free reports of homes for sale in an area, or like whatever free report is actually valuable for someone in your area. So one of my favorite strategies is an acreage homes report. And this is one of my just all-time favorite ways to generate leads for realtors, not because it has anything to do with trying to attract land buyers and sellers. But if you offer something like an acreage homes report, the type of person who clicks on that is not a first-time home buyer. Not that there's anything wrong with first-time home buyers, but like right now, this is something most realtors won't say out loud, so I'll say it for them. Like they don't want first-time home buyer leads because it's impossible.
There's a lot of work.
It's impossible to help them get a house right now.
Yeah.
There's so few inventory on the market that if someone comes in, and I'm not sure what price points here are in Bell Fountain, but are they $300,000 homes, $200,000 homes, kind of around there?
Well, first off, there's like zero inventory.
Right.
But what is left for a first-time home buyer is probably going to be in six figures or more.
Oh yeah. I mean, for sure.
A lot more. Yeah.
And, in my town growing up, I'll just use this as an example because I do know the price points in my hometown, probably similar to Bell Fountain. Like when I was in high school, college, not too long ago, like you could still buy homes under 100,000. And most starter homes, I'm saying that with air quotes, are like, we're in between 100 to 130, 140. Yeah. And in my hometown, anything that was like 150 to 250 was like, oh, those are nice middle-class houses. Like they're definitely not starter houses. They're nicer, probably got some nice upgraded kitchens, nice yards, good neighborhoods if you can afford something that's 200,000 or something. And honestly, anything above 250 and for sure 300,000 in my hometown was like, you're living on a golf course and you're a baller. And you're probably a doctor or lawyer if you live in a $300,000 house, right? Now, because of just the market we're in with such low inventory, you basically can't buy any house for under 200, and the ones that are priced under 200 get 20 offers the first day they're listed, and they might list it at 160 and then it ends up selling for 190 with no contingencies, no inspection, And so it's basically impossible to be a first-time home buyer right now. That's what I'm getting at. So
how encouraging. I'm renting right now.
Yeah.
Considering
goals,
buying
right?
a house. Yeah. So
I mean,
it's not a great time.
Unfortunately, interest rates just went up again today.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to be buying a house, but it's even harder to be a realtor representing people trying to buy. So the point I'm getting at there is like, they don't want buyer leads necessarily. They want listing leads, but especially they don't want first-time home buyer leads because that's where all the competition is, right? It helps them way more if they can get a listing lead. Like that's the holy grail of real estate marketing, is getting a listing lead, So I love this ad, the Acreage Homes Report. So, we would create an ad that says something to the effect of like, hey, Bell Fountain, or hey, what county are we in here?
Logan County.
Hey, Logan County, I've compiled the list of all the homes for sale here that have at least 1 acre of land. So if you're looking for something that has a little bit more space to stretch around, maybe a, fenced in yard for your dogs or your, kids to play a backyard football game.
Yeah.
I will send you this report. Go to www.logancounty acreagehomesreport.com. And my team will create a website and a campaign for all that of like Logan County acreagehomesreport.com. Right. And then we're obviously setting up retargeting. So if someone clicks on that ad and they register for more information, we're capturing those leads. So that's how we're generating leads. But even just by clicking on the ad, even if you chicken out at the last second and you're about to enter your information and you're like, oh, I changed my mind, I don't want this realtor to have my contact information. And then you X out, right? You're still going to be retargeted. So you'll keep seeing ads for that agent. But it means the type of clicks you're attracting, to answer your question, those are not first-time homebuyer leads. If you're clicking on an ad campaign because you're requesting information about, homes that have at least 1 acre, 99 times out of 100, you're a move-up buyer. And in real estate lingo, a move-up buyer is just a different way of saying like a seller lead, right? Because it means they already own a house. So that agent's going to get a listing when that lead comes in because the person wants to buy. They want to buy a bigger forever home with some acreage. But if you're moving up, it means there's going to be a home for sale, right? So that's how we generate a lot of leads for our agents. I mean, that's one of dozens and dozens of ads that we have. So the first step is lead generation, to identify the people in your community that are actually thinking about buying or selling in the next, 6 months, 12 months. And then once we have that database, then we retarget them with all of the community focused content. And we'll just like strategically sprinkle in some real estate content just to make sure that
it's there if they want to find it.
Yeah. Like, so they know that, okay, this person's a realtor. They're clearly an expert, but like honestly, 80 to 90% of the content is not talking about real estate or how great of a realtor it is. It's just building trust at like a gut primal, like instinctual level. Oh, cool. I like you.
Because people can tell now. That's why I think the ads that aren't ads are working, because everyone's eye and ears have been trained to what is an ad. And it's hard sometimes. Like working in social media right now, it's like, what do I even make then? It's like to promote ourselves. It's like you almost can't. So
yeah, there was a period of probably like, I don't know, 3 to 5 years where you could get like a DSLR camera, right? And produce like gorgeous, shallow depth of field footage. And everyone's like, wow, they must have so much money. They hired like a Hollywood film producer. And it was really impressive having like DSLR footage, or now I know a lot of cameras are mirrorless or whatever, but for a while it was like you could make really epic looking video for not having to go buy a $50,000 camera setup, right? But now we see what works on social media is like, no. Use an iPhone. Like, don't get a fancy video camera. Dumb it way down. Because if ads start popping up in someone's newsfeed and they look professional, like they look nice, people keep scrolling because they immediately recognize, oh, that's an ad. Yeah, right. That's an ad. That's an ad.
And let me tell you, as a video guy, like that's my probably number one over photo and social media and everything. Yep. It's incredibly frustrating.
Oh, totally.
I've spent years refining this craft, and getting better and money and all this stuff, and then I produce a super polished, video that I'm pumped on. Best piece that I've ever, made.
No clicks, no likes.
No love on social media. And so in fact, it's like steering away from that. And so that's why I have a trouble like accepting TikTok and like shorts and stuff that. It's like,
yep.
Oh man, that's frustrating. I could go on a tangent.
People are really leaning into, they want like content, substance. That's what we've been preaching at our masterminds to our clients is like, the production quality of what you're doing doesn't matter nearly as much as like, is what you're sharing,
if it's good quality,
actually interesting, right? Is what you're talking about actually interesting? Like if people want to go, here's a good example of this. If you want to learn more about platform and what we're doing, go to platformmarketingideas.com. I promise you, it's the ugliest website you've ever seen in your life because I intentionally told our web designer, like I'm not like bullshitting. I intentionally told our web designer, make this website look like it's from 1994. I want it to look like an HTML high school project from 1994. So just black and white, like blue hyperlinks. When there's a link someone can click, I just want a blue hyperlink. No images, no, fancy logos or anything like that. No embedded videos. Just so if you go there, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Platformmarketingideas.com. So the reason we did that is we just give all of our best ideas away. So it's like, hey, here's the strategies we're doing. Here's a bunch of actual examples of the ads. And if you click those blue hyperlinks, it'll take you to our clients' examples of those ads. So you can see behind the scenes exactly what our strategy looks like. And we know that you won't be able to replicate it because you don't understand the machinery of how it all works and how to set it up. So if you're impressed, you'll just hire us, right? But on a phone call, what I'll say is like, hey, that was a pretty ugly website, right? And they're like, yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that. You're a marketing company. I was kind of expecting something a little bit more polished. And I say, well, we made it ugly on purpose because our whole philosophy of a, as a company is like, we do marketing that works, marketing that provides value, where there's actually something there, and we don't really care if it looks fancy because the best ads don't look like ads. This website works to the extent it doesn't look like just a promotional website for a marketing agency. You start reading it, and all of a sudden I track on a Google Analytics, like how long people are reading, and they'll spend minutes and minutes on our website reading through all the articles. And then how I generate leads for platform too. This gets down to why it's an ugly website. The only way to inquire is to read all the way to the bottom of one of these 2,000 word articles I wrote about our strategy. And then there's a blue hyperlink at the bottom that you can request more information about platform. So I know when I get a ping that like, hey, we got a new lead of
someone spent some time on that page.
Realtor who's interested in platform. These are not just like top of funnel, casually interested. This is someone who spent probably 5-10 minutes,
which just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, reading about our strategy. And so that person's worth following up with.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good test too, is there's a lot of people that want to kick the tires. But because they took that time and that energy, that's a solid lead.
Right. Like I would rather have fewer leads, but know that they're somewhat serious before I spend time with them than have a ton of leads, but I have to filter through all the crap to see who's actually serious versus just, who's not willing to spend any money or whatever. So I think that same mentality though is true of most businesses. If you put more like substance and effort into even writing the script of the video we're doing, it's way better than if you have a super cool polished video, but it's kind of like looks like an ad. You know what I mean? Like that example I gave earlier, it sounds so basic, but like, hey guys, it's Tim at the bakery. Here's my 3 favorite things to order. Most people historically, if they were filming like a promo video for a bakery, they would get a bunch of gorgeous B-roll and shallow depth of field shots of the croissants and the chef in the background flipping dough around or sprinkling sugar on stuff, and it's gorgeous looking, but you don't really get a sense of like, well, what's good here? Because obviously you're just getting gorgeous footage. Yeah. And anyone can do that, frankly, but it's like, what's actually good? People want to know what to order. So we found that people are way more likely to go to a restaurant if you specifically explicitly tell them, here's what to order. Yeah. Because now when I go in, I don't have to feel like, oh, I have no idea what to, like, I know what I'm going to order because a person told me in a video, here's what's good here. So even going to like the bakery or pizza place and saying, hey, here's the 3 top selling menu items here. So this is what our customers love the most. Obviously try whatever you want, but just, here's the 3 things I would start ordering if you've never been here before. That makes me way more likely to go there, even if that video is filmed on a damn iPhone. Yep. Because I feel like, cool, that's an authentic endorsement. And now I have the confidence of like, I'm going to go try that, and that. Yep. Right.
People were tired of content for content's sake.
Yep.
We are closing in on our time here. So you guys are here in Bell Fountain visiting. What are you hoping to take away from this experience?
Well, first I should say the fact that we are here says a lot about what you're doing, because I went on the website and then, Jason gave a talk in our mastermind and people were so fascinated, like, wow, that's incredible what you're doing. Like some of those before and after case studies of starting these small businesses and like revitalizing these buildings, and then the cumulative like 1 + 1 = 3 effect that has on the main street. Our clients were like, can we please do a field trip to Bell Fountain so we can see this in person? Yeah. And these are realtors, keep in mind, from all across the country. We have people here that flew in from Florida, Texas, Idaho, Minnesota. All across the country are coming here to Bell Fountain to see what you guys have going on here. So that's really cool that, just something as simple as starting small businesses can inspire other people. Like that's how rare it is. I said, there's like, for every 100 people, pouring gas on a bunch of logs, there's one person who has the courage to actually start the bonfire in the first place, right? So that's what I feel like is going on here, and that's why we're here.
We didn't start the fire. Actually, we did start it. So.
I was going to say, wait a second, Jason. That's awesome. Well, I know we're super excited to have you guys here. When the guys came back from going to your event, they were pretty pumped, and I was fairly new. That's around a little bit after I got hired on, and they're like, I was in the process of getting some of the social media accounts, and like, you got to start trying this like ad. That's not an ad kind of situation. So super excited to have you guys here.
Yeah, I mean, all of us realtors came up here just to learn and be inspired about what you guys are doing. Because it's not like a realtor mastermind or conference here. It's realtors literally just coming up to look at the small businesses that you guys have inspired and started and like get ideas for their hometowns and hopefully bring back some of that inspiration and business model knowledge to their hometowns. Whether I said there's people here from Idaho, from Texas, Florida, Minnesota, Michigan. I mean, like, people flew in just to kind of get a tour of Bell Fountain. So, I mean, it's cool. Like, I'm not from Bell Fountain, right? If I was from here, I'd be really proud of what's going on here because it's cool for your community, certainly, but it's also influencing and inspiring small towns across the country. And like, I feel that America is its small towns. Like, other countries across the world have big cities, right? China has way more big cities than the United States does. So does India. So do, all the countries in Europe are very population dense relative to the U.S., right? What makes the U.S. interesting and makes us exceptional, to use the phrase American exceptionalism, is our small towns. It's the small towns and kind of the rural areas. Other countries don't have that same vibe that we do. When they have small towns, typically it's like agricultural village type of towns, but America has like thriving small towns, or that really haven't been thriving, we should say, the last 30, 40, 50 years. And if we can recover that in the United States, I think it changes the entire culture of the United States, because people are more likely to settle down, have kids, get married, have a family, and create economic stability in a small town. People don't want to do that in a condo in Minneapolis or Phoenix or even Columbus, right? People want to have that small town life, but they want to be close enough to a big city where if they want to go see, a pro hockey game, pro football game, or a pro sporting event, concert, whatever, that they can do that. But I think America is stronger, and it's just a more interesting place to live to the extent that we have vibrant, interesting small towns. And so I'm like super passionate about that, because that's something that I think transcends politics, whether you're left, right, independent, libertarian, progressive, whatever. We should all be able to agree that the more vibrant and interesting America's small towns are, the more that we all win. So that's why I love what you guys are doing, and I'm loving that platform can learn from you guys and hopefully take that back to our communities and show them how to do the same thing.
That's awesome. I'm excited to be getting the tour and inspire some people and really show off that win-win. I think that's the kind of the theme of this podcast is pulling out that win-win, whether it's your whole community or, with your just local businesses in general. It's kind of talking about the same thing. Jason, you want to hit us with your golden nugget?
I think Tim said it well, that small is significant, and probably the biggest thing to take away, and you heard from a marketing expert today, that being authentic and real, designing things that are not an ad. A lot of people do what everyone else thinks you should do, and I appreciate Tim being the contrarian and just being real, authentic, and those results are showing itself in the clients that he's built, the business that he's built, and the communities that they're impacting.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my questions on here was going to be, some advice that you would give to somebody who's more green in the real estate, trying to gain some traction on social media and things like that. But honestly, I feel like if you weren't able to pull something from that, discussion, then,
What advice would I give someone? Go to platformmarketingideas.com.
Smart businessman too. Yes, he is.
So yeah, go ahead and if people want to find you on social media or whatever, where can they find you? I know you plugged a website, but
yep. So you can find us on Facebook, Platform Marketing. Obviously, the website is platformmarketingideas.com, and if you go there, we have retargeting ads set up, so you will start seeing our videos and photos pop up in your newsfeed just by going to Platform Marketing Ideas. And so you can kind of see the strategy as it's working, as it's working on you. And so, I mean, we practice what we preach, right? Like, I don't cold call realtors to grow our business. The only way someone signs up for Platform is if they check out our website, they inquire, want to learn more, they contact me and schedule a call with me. And it's something I say on a sales call, because often they'll say something to the effect of like, well, that's really interesting, but how do you know it'll work in my market? Like, it's working for all these other case studies and clients I've seen, but how do you know it'll work in my market? It's like, well, we're on the phone. right? You're in your market.
How do you think
so
this happens?
clearly you were interested enough to go through our funnel and then reach out. We create that same marketing process for you so that, homeowners in your community reach out to you if they want to sell their house and they're looking for, the best agent.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's incredible.
It's fun.
Cool. Well, thank you, Tim. I appreciate you joining
thank you,
us
Tim.
today. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in and checking out the Small Talk podcast with Jason Duff. And you can find us anywhere that you listen to your podcast, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and even Small Nation on YouTube channel. I hope you're able to pull out some of the value from that conversation, and we hope to see you in the next one. And if you haven't subscribed already or are looking for more of this kind of content, be sure to check out the Friday Small Talk newsletter that goes out every week. Stay tuned to Small Nation on social media and keep up with everything that is happening, as there are lots of exciting projects in the works. And until next time, this is Small Nation with Jason Duff signing off. Thanks, guys.
Who's John
guys.
Galt?